Welcome to Model Horse Tack School. My name is Carrie, and today we're doing a Warp Speed Pink Barrel Racer saddle assembly. So what I decided to do here is do something different with the cantle, and I'm going to go ahead and just glue that piece to the suede and use that for my Cheyenne roll unwrapped. I didn't even wrap it. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the seat on. Yeah, look at all those parts and pieces. So we're just showing the saddle today. I'm not going to show the breast collar or anything else. Okay, it's just the saddle. So there we go. Get rid of some of that excess glue. Make sure it's centered right there. That's looking good. And yeah, I overdid the back of the cantle, so we'll just go ahead and wipe that off as well. Next thing is to take that piece I cut off, and I'm going to go ahead and skive it just a little on the inside to make sure that it's flat. And there we go, got the board. You got to be careful because I really just want the inside to be flat. Looks like I went ahead and skived everything, but at least that'll work. It'll sit right on top of that suede. So that suede will be the support for the Cheyenne roll. And here we go. Gonna put some glue on there. Again, I'm working on suede, so I got to be careful to not get that all over. So I'm spreading it on there, and I'm wiping my fingers off. And now I'm going to very carefully place that right onto the suede of that seat. And that way, there you go. So this is just another way to do the Cheyenne roll. There's many ways to do the Cheyenne roll, but this one here worked pretty good. And you can see I'm working that suede, and now I'm getting that to push backwards. Oh, there we go. All right. Now we could put that on the saddle tree. I already made the saddle tree previously. There we go. I want to make sure that it's going to sit flat. So because I didn't, tool the saddle tree, I'm trimming a little off here just to try and get that Cheyenne roll to roll right over the edge there. So front looks like it fits, back looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue the back of the seat to the back of the cantle now that I see that I like the way it's going to fit. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and pull that Cheyenne roll down. And then just to have some more fun, we're going to go ahead and glue that right to the top of the tree. The seat of the tree, gluing it right on top there and getting rid of any of the excess. And I'm always doing something, working it, making it better. Maybe something didn't glue down right or whatever. So that's what I was doing there. Now this is the rigging, goes underneath the saddle tree. You need a couple of D's, or you could do, I use jump rings all the time. They're a 10, anywhere from an 8 to a 10 you can use. And so we're just going to fit them in, fold it over. There we go. And then same thing for the other side. Now I always like to make sure that they're closed all the way. There we go. And then that fits right in there. See those slits for the stirrup leathers? And then it goes right up front. It's really right below the pommel. Now usually it'd be attached to the pommel, but it doesn't work well for miniature. So I came up with this here instead of trying to attach it to the pommel. And we want to make sure that everything is symmetrical, centered, and even. So there, I took a little bit out of that centerpiece so that the rings would lay where they're supposed to. Now I'm going to put the billet straps on. This particular saddle only has the front billets. It doesn't have any rear billets. So I'm just going to put those on. Oh, well, got to skive. Got to make sure they're thin enough. So it looks like I skived one and not the other. And I don't need all of that. So what I do is, however much I need, and then I could trim off the excess. And then I want to put in a detail. So I'm going to put 3 little holes. I've shown this in some of my other videos, but I'm going to go ahead and use a string. So we go through the front, hold the extra piece or the tail down, and then through the back. And then we go all the way around to the other. There we go. And then we come through the front. And then we're going to slip the loose end through the loop created. And then we have this, trim that off. Then we have this cute little detail. All right, now I'm going to put the back jockeys on, the rear jockeys. I'm going to go ahead and fit those. They don't have to be scrunched all the way up, so I usually fit them where do I want them, where they're going to fit best. And in this case, you know, I want them to at least be right where that corner is. So there we go. That's where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and glue it in place. Just because I don't like it when it shifts when I go to put the needles in. I want it exactly the way I want it, so I want it glued that way. And then I'm going to put in the pins or needles or whatever that keeps the entire saddle together. So this is just trying to get that to fit where I want it to fit on both sides, making sure it's symmetrical. And sorry if my hands, sometimes I bump the camera, sometimes it's how I'm sitting in my chair. You know, I just get involved in what I'm doing and I don't necessarily notice that I'm slowly eking out of frame. But hey, saddle's made. Okay, so now on the stirrup leathers, I'm going to go ahead and trim them to a point because these are adjustable and that means there should be buckles. Yep, there's the buckles. I went and did that off camera. So the buckles are on. Go ahead and slip in my stirrup leathers. If you have your stirrups done at this point, you know, you can go ahead and add those along with the keeper. In this case, I was using the acrylic ones or the ones from Rio Rondo that are made out of resin, and I hadn't done those yet. So here I am just making sure that I fit the front and the back the way I like it. Is everything going to fit? Does everything look symmetrical? Okay, and so sometimes I glue those in place to make sure that they're right where I want them. So it's always a good idea to dry fit before you glue. All right, so I wanted to make sure that fit where it is. So I went ahead and glued so that all of that fits correctly. And I didn't seem to have an issue now with the back. Now with this pattern, you only see the jockeys, the rear jockeys, they go ahead and hang over the back so that it looks like there's no skirts. But you have skirts in the front, and then you have one rear jockey that covers the back skirts, and that's what holds the saddle tree in place. So you can see that. But it still comes together like any of the other saddles. Now I was doing gold on this, so gold and pink. I didn't have any needles that were gold, so I went ahead and got these. But I'm going to have to poke a hole with my needle on a stick. And I'm going to have to do that for all of them. So this was a lot of fun. It broke my needle on a stick. I actually pulled it out of the socket. But this is what you have to do, and what you're using, you know, isn't your standard stuff every time you deviate. So yeah, ended up that my needle on a stick fell apart. So instead, I decided just to get a big, like doll needle and use that because I need my needle on a stick. All right, so those went in to the hole I created, and we went ahead and did the bend and the bend. And it's a 90-degree bend and then another like 90-degree bend. And that kind of locks the saddle in place. And I only have to do this a couple more times. We're going to do it in the back. Now, I didn't pre-punch my holes, so I just had to figure out where in the tooling pattern I was going to put these. So, yeah, that makes one hole, and the needle itself opened up the hole. So between the two, I was able to finally get a hole big enough to get these gold pins in. And I had both pins and loops, so I was kind of digging through to make sure I got the flats. So these have a flat top. I suppose if you want to do a bunch of latigo ties on a trail saddle, you could do the loop ones. But again, 90-degree and then 90-degree to lock it in and then get rid of the extra. Loop, loop, take off the rest. Now, the front was going to be fun because I had to put my cinch keeper and latigo tie on it. So here I'm putting holes in those. That way we can get the gold flat pins through it. That's one, that's two. Okay, good. Now we have to make sure we have that exactly where we want it in the front. Sorry, out of frame again. There we go. That goes through. Again, 90 degree, 90 degree, trim the excess. And it's going to be the same thing. See, it kept breaking my needle on a stick. So, but we endured. We endured. There we go. 90, 90. When I get really involved in what I'm doing without talking, then, yeah. Nope, I guess that broke. I need another one. I do that sometimes. Forget how strong I am, and I can bust wire with my bare hands. And there we go. Last twist. Clip it off. Awesome. Putting everything away because I like to keep a clean workstation. So that's where we are so far. Now what I wanted to do is put these, I wanted bling bling. So I've got these rhinestones that are pink, and I'm going to go ahead and glue those to those flat pens. And these are truly flat, unlike the ones that you get from for needles, so for sewing. So that's why these were a good fit here. I should be wearing gloves because I'm so allergic to that glue. I'm using a little bit of sticky wax on the tip of my needle on a stick, and that helps it stick to my needle on a stick until I can get it to stick on the glue. So, all right, there you go. And I think the last thing is the chamois. I'm using chamois for the bottom that I picked up at a hardware store. It's kind of expensive, but it's nice and thin, and it's the right color for your wool sheepskin detail. Can't use real sheepskin because it's thicker than the saddle we're making. I usually do one side at a time. That way I don't have too much glue to worry about. So there we go. Sometimes I need a bigger hole in my glue bottle, but most of the time I don't. So make sure those pins are underneath. All right, there we go. Well, I really appreciate that you spent time with me today. Hope you learned something. Hope this will help you much better than the 4-hour square Western working saddle video that I have. If you didn't get enough information, you can go there, and it just goes through every detail very, very slowly. But hey, I want to say thank you for spending time with me today. Like, subscribe, buy me a coffee. There's a link in the description. Share this with all your friends, and you have yourself a really good day.